What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another Venruki video. And in this one, I've got a banger for you, okay? So, as you guys know, Midnight's coming out. And as you know, or maybe you don't know, at Midnight, we're getting rid of a lot of add-ons. So I thought this would be a good opportunity for me to not only challenge myself, but also test out what it is like to play the game without add-ons. So I had the bright idea to try a healer challenge from 0 to 2400 with no add-ons at all. And this is the result, okay? I made a Void Reaver Disc Priest, and honestly, it went way easier than I thought it would. We managed to get it in like 4 hours of playing, something like that. From literally having no gear to being 2400 solo shuffle. I think I had close to like a 70% win, maybe slightly higher. I lost 0 lobbies. Now, I'm not saying that I got some sort of superpowers because I didn't use add-ons. And I'm not saying that Void Reaver isn't OP, because it definitely is very strong, but I was surprised at how I could still do pretty well, even with no add-ons. And I know I'm a veteran player, I've played without add-ons before, etc., but I also wanted to take this opportunity, so we can start these games here. I'm just gonna talk over this footage, okay? So you guys can see these are the games that we played. I'm just gonna kind of commentate along with them, but not necessarily commentate the gameplay. I just want to talk about the experience of running no add-ons. So this is what my UI looked like. You'll notice I actually do have one add-on, which is Details. So Details is the only add-on that I have on, and that's mostly because there will be a damage meter in Midnight. So I figured, you know, we might as well add it. Plus, it adds to the viewer experience. So, anyways, like I said, I thought that this would be a really good opportunity for me to mess around with the game with no add-ons and see what I really missed, and try to come up with a list of things that I think are kind of required. Obviously, you don't need these things, but there was some things that I definitely missed. Now, I'm going to point some of them out as we go along in this video. I'll make a little list, and then I would love if, you know, at the end of this video, you guys leave a comment. I'm doing this video in one take, so if there's any mistakes, I apologize. This is me kind of just my thoughts, me ranting. But yeah, if there's any add-ons that you guys think are missing from this, or any functionality, not add-ons, but any functionality that you wish the UI had, let me know. So the first thing, and most importantly, in my humble opinion, and I will put the list up here. The first thing, and most importantly, in my opinion, that I really missed from playing without add-ons is the party frames. So I think the party frames leave a lot to be desired. As you guys can see, you don't get to track many buffs and many debuffs. Things like dispellable crowd control don't really pop, so it can be hard to notice. You know what I mean? Like, you're paying attention to this big screen and you have a little, like, I don't know, 5 pixel by 5 pixel icon that you need to notice and dispel. Plus, it only shows a maximum of 3 buffs. So that is obviously a huge problem. I think we need more customization on the party frames. Now, as I critique this, I do fully realize that some of these things are actually being improved in Midnight. But I just want to make sure, like, it would be very nice if you could see things like crowd control that you can actually dispel and make that a little bit bigger than the other debuffs or buffs that you have up. Just so it's very easy to notice when people are in crowd control on your party frames, and you can prioritize it. It's also nice for a DPS, for example. You can see when your healer is feared for a Tremor Totem. You can see, you know, when they're hexed for a decurse, etc., etc. So party frames are they're up there. I don't want to say they're number one. We'll do this in no particular order, but party frames, I think, were one of the things I significantly missed when doing this push. The next thing that I wanted to talk about, you'll notice if I set up a focus target, I actually stopped setting up a focus target because it was so annoying. But my focus target, and this is something I've been able to remove with add-ons, is it's not even just your focus target, your targets in general. So you can see, like, look, I'm targeting my shaman, I'm targeting myself in the top left. You can see all the useless buffs that are being tracked. It's complete nonsense. So I think on your frames, it would be very nice if you could decide to remove buffs that are just non-dispellable, you know, like unimportant, not like non-big cooldowns, like there's just way too much nonsense. It makes it really hard to actually parse what's important. And you can see it right here. So I'm going to pause the video for a second. Look at my focus frame. Okay. Look at this focus frame. So I have my mouse showing. You can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 debuff showing. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 buffs showing. Okay. So like we're literally like, we're talking 20, 25 buffs and debuffs that I have to parse through. And not only that, it pushes down the cast bar. So you can see like on my arena frames, when the priest casts, we'll see if the red actually ends up casting a spell so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But all those debuffs and buffs, they actually push down the cast frame, making it harder to actually, at least for the way I have my position. Do you see that? Like, look at how far down it is. It's ridiculous. I mean, maybe I need to reposition it, but I also just think you need to be able to remove a lot of that stuff. There are some add-ons that do it, and it is something that I use, so I kind of forgot at how egregious it really, really is. But that's another thing that I really didn't frick with. I didn't like it at all. So customize buffs / debuffs on target / focus frame. That was another one. So yeah, we got my party frames. I want to be able to customize those. Customize buffs and debuffs on target and focus frame. That's another one that I really want to be able to do. And I know they're simplifying some of that stuff, and hopefully it gets better at midnight. But yeah, this is just another like kind of non-negotiable that I feel like if you don't have that, it's going to look really, really ugly. Now, the other thing I've noticed is I don't like the markers. So I know these markers, like the purple diamond and the blue square and the orange circle, you know, they are something that we've had in the game for a very long time, but I think that they should be updated. Now, on my normal UI with add-ons, I have them very nicely displayed, where it just shows, like when I'm on my mage, for example, it'll just show like a little healer icon over my healer. And then for my DPS, it will just show what class they are. Simple. You know what I mean? I don't have to look for the little, there's just too many colors. You know, I think doing it in a style like a blue square or a pink diamond, it's outdated. You know what I mean? It's been in the game since vanilla, especially with the amount of spell animations in the game and class color nameplates and all the colorful visuals exploding all over the place. It can be really difficult to actually see where your teammates are. So I think that is something that I would love for them to add, is just better ways to track your teammates. You know what I mean? The better icons to actually follow along with your teammates and where they are. Just make it make a lot more sense. Even if it was just a class icon, that would be great. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that. Party markers. That's another one on my list that I really missed. Now, that's mostly from like a healer perspective. There's another one that during this challenge really kind of bothered me, and I didn't realize how bad it was, or I should say how good it is on Mez's UI. So Mez has a weak aura that he made. We call it Mez's package. Like the video, if you've played around with Mez's package in-game with weak auras. It is extremely useful. Basically, what it does is it amplifies the sound file of all offensive cooldowns, which is super duper useful. So you'll know if you're right beside a fire mage and you pop combustion, or he pops combustion, you'll hear it, right? It's a very iconic sound. However, with Mez's add-on, it will play the sound as if he's right beside you across the entire map. So basically, if someone uses an offensive cooldown, even if they're 100 miles away, you will still hear the cooldown. And that makes it very easy to react to the major swell of damage. And I think that for pretty much every offensive cooldown, we need a good sound cue. I think that would be incredibly helpful, because things like combustion are incredibly obvious. And then you have other cooldowns that are just not obvious whatsoever, that are, equally as powerful, or at least close to it. So I think it would be really good if Blizzard, at least for Arena, or just in general, made better sound cues that were not distant dependent in rated PvP. So if you have a fire mage even across the map from you who pops combustion, that is something you can react to. If you have a hunter who pops his true shot aura, that is something you can react to. If a windwalker monk pops his storm earth and fire, that is something you can react to. So I would love just better sound cues for offensive CDs. I think that like at a bare minimum, that's totally fine. And if you want kind of like a reference to how I think it should be, Blizzard already does this in games like Overwatch. So if you play Overwatch, when the enemy pops a cooldown, there is a very distinct voice line, a very distinct sound. You know exactly what's going on. And it is incredibly useful to be able to react to those situations where there's a swell of damage or something very important going on. So that is something that I think could be a lot better. And yeah, that I hope is improved. Now here are two that I'm not sure about, and I am curious what your thoughts are on this. So this is another one, a DR tracker. Now the default Blizzard frames, like arena frames, kind of have them, but they disappear. So what I mean by that is you'll see that triple DR root. You'll see a red root popped up. And that is just basically showcasing that it's on a 3x DR, but it goes away and doesn't show you when it's going to be off DR. So you can see that Hammer of Justice there, that fear that I cast on the Warlock to win the game. You know, no big deal. But yeah, I would like it if the DR trackers remained up so you could actually see when people came off DR. Because right now it will show you when something's on half DR and it will show you when something's on a double DR, but it won't keep the DRs up so you can know when people are off diminishing return, which could make it very hard to track. So I think the DR trackers need to be updated. And the last one that I wanted to ask you guys about and what your thoughts are is an interrupt tracker, because this is a question mark for me. I'm not sold on this one, you know. Interrupt tracker. So do you think that we should have interrupt trackers in the game? Now I want you to keep in mind that healers across the board, except Shaman, lost their interrupts. So you're not going to have to track interrupts from 3 players really anymore, with the exception of Shaman. And Shaman's win shear actually went up to 30 seconds. So Shaman will be the only one where you have to track an interrupt. And for every other game of 3v3 or solo shuffle, you're only going to have to track the interrupt of 2 players. And my question is that fine? Like, should we have some sort of internal tracking, or would you like to see interrupts put on, the frames? Because if you see my mouse, I think you could easily fit in like the interrupt of the enemy player, like under maybe the warrior's trinket, it shows his pummel. Maybe under the shaman's trinket, it shows his wind shear. You know, if there was a mage, it would show his counter spell, for example. Like, I could see them adding something like that. I'm not sure one way or the other if that is the best thing, if that's something that they should do. So I'm curious, like, I want to have a discussion about that one, because I can see pros and cons either way, but it is something that I would be totally okay with either way. It wouldn't bother me even a little bit. But yeah, that's pretty much it. This is my list. Better party frames, better customization for buffs and debuffs, better party markers, better sound cues for offensive CDs, and a DR tracker, a better DR tracker, which I think might already be implemented. So that might be something that we already have. And then, of course, interrupt tracker. Is that something that they should add? And I think with that, the game actually feels very playable. There's a lot that they've added to the Midnight UI that this UI right now in War Within, I can't really do anything with. So it would already be a little bit better than this. And keep in mind, yeah, they're simplifying some things. But overall, yeah, this was a really fun challenge. I want to do more. A lot of people are saying that, like, it's not valid because I'm a Void Weaver, which, whatever. Void Weavers are fine. They're totally balanced. It's all good. But yeah, if there's another class that you guys want me to try, maybe a melee DPS, a range DPS, a different healer, I'm thinking about trying like a Totemic Resto Shaman build, something like that. But we can see this final game play out here with my Midnight Challenge with no add-ons, because it's been a lot of fun. And honestly, I would encourage more people to try it out. Like, if you guys have an alt and you want to see what it's like to play with no add-ons, this might be the time to actually practice. I know my stream is telling me that Waz, after the AWC, is just going to be disabling all his weak auras and stuff like that, just so he can start practicing for midnight, which reminds me of the old tournament days where we used to do that before tournament season, just turn off all our add-ons to practice what the game is like without them again. We can just watch me blast on my Void Weaver for a little bit. Just enjoy the last little bit of this challenge. And then I have receipts so we can look at the end that we actually, you know, managed to obtain it. We blasted. I did some really cheesy... If you guys have been actually paying attention to the gameplay, I did some really cheesy tactics in this game of just attacking Fel Hunters. Like, here it is. Of just attacking Fel Hunters out of line of sight. There's something really fun you can do on a Void Reaver if the Warlock's not paying attention. Literally just heal through walls while just Void Blasting the pet. The enemy priest is just, like, having the worst time ever, and I'm literally just pressing one button on a pet. Just healing through pillars, extending my atonement. It's definitely super balanced and fair. I don't actually think this is the best thing you can do because you're missing out on damage on the player, but it is semi-hilarious. And if you do end up killing the Fel Hunter, it's quite annoying for the Warlock. So, yeah, if you guys have made it this far in the video, congratulations on learning some bonus tech here. And like I said, you guys should let me know what classes you want me to play. This is this lobby, so we got up to like 2350 MMR. And just so you guys actually believe me that I completed the challenge, I got the final game here where we managed to win. We made a Rep Paladin leave the game. We beat him on the Void Weaver, and he wasn't happy, and he ended up leaving. So, yeah, we got the 2400 in one queue session. It was super fun. But yeah, if you guys like these style of videos, also please let me know. And please enjoy this beautiful picture that I took of the mountains here in Canada. All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks for watching. Take care.